The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johnson.
Good morning and thanks for joining us for Simply Southern. I'm Mary Johnson.
And I'm Jim Allen. Coming up on today's show, we'll find out about a 4-H school project that comes with some interesting homework.
And Huntsville, the Rocket City, is known for groundbreaking scientific research. Researchers at the Hudson Alpha Institute for Biotechnology are continuing that trend, but instead of reaching atmospheric heights, they're mapping plant genetics. Plus, Sydney Phelps of Bonnie Plants is keeping an eye out for diseases that could hurt your tomato production, but are easy to treat.
But next up, I hear that train a-coming. Hey, guess who's driving? We'll visit Alabama's official railroad museum when Simply Southern returns.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Support healthy food from local farmers. Join the Alabama Farmers Federation today. Since 1921, the Alabama Farmers Federation has been the voice of farmers and rural Alabama, standing up for family values, good government, low taxes, and economic opportunity. The Federation has helped make agriculture and forestry Alabama's largest industry, accounting for 1 in every 4 jobs. Join the Alabama Farmers Federation today at any local Alpha Insurance office.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
We all have busy lives. When my customers have a claim, I want to help them get things back to normal as quickly as possible. There's no better claim service out there, and that's one of the reasons I work for Alpha Insurance. And our Alpha To Go app is just one way we make it easy to get that service. Anytime, anywhere.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
The story of America probably would be a lot different without the train. The railways that tied our young nation together and powered the industrial age still pull the freight that drives our world today. But those old locomotives and silver-sided cars still recall the adventurous spirit of simpler times. This week we leave the station for Calera, just outside of Birmingham, where the trains keep a-rolling. There's just something about a train. Maybe it's the roar of that big diesel or the rattle of steel wheels speeding down the tracks. Whatever it is, it's amazing how quickly it can turn a fella raised on airplanes and interstates into a little boy with a big new toy.
Oh Lord, I'm driving a train.
While they usually leave the engineering to the professionals, for years, train enthusiasts have been able to get their fix at the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum.
If you want to come ride in a vintage situation, then the Heart of Dixie is one of the places that you can come. It's one of 2 or 3 places in the state of Alabama where you can come ride a vintage train.
From the old steamers to the more familiar diesels, the museum's considerable collection of classic engines, cars, cabooses, and train memorabilia are more than enough to keep any rail fan occupied. But it's the opportunity to get out on the tracks that has made the museum a favorite attraction.
Each and every Saturday we run two runs at 11 and 2 o'clock. Take folks on about an hour and 15-minute run. That's how long it takes us to go down to the end of the line and come back.
The Heart of Dixie also hosts a number of themed events throughout the year. From a Wild West day featuring a reenacted train robbery to a day out with Thomas the Train, the museum is making Calera a fun stop for visitors of all ages.
Our biggest event is what we call the North Pole Express. It's a Christmas event where we take kids down. Kids can come in their PJs or whatever and get on board. It's a pretty exciting event for the kids.
And building that enthusiasm in their young visitors is absolutely the museum's goal. The events and weekend rides are especially popular with children, and inspiring a love of the railroad in a new generation may help further the mission to preserve and restore these amazing machines.
You know, what they want to do is they want to get the eye of the engineer, and they want to, you know, do that hand wave and things like that, but the expression on their face is just unbelievable. Kids today really don't know a whole lot about trains. They really don't know much about the history. So what we want to do is we want to preserve that history.
So maybe the thought of a model train set going round and around gets your wheels pumping, or maybe you're just looking for a fun day out. In either case, the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum offers a trip that's tough to get in our modern world of skyways and highways.
It gives them a chance to go get in one of these older cars, like go get in our Frisco car that was built in 1910. Sit down, raise the window, feel the breeze, see how people maybe felt in 1915. So we try to give that experience. Where do you go today to get that?
The North Pole Express, which runs from the middle of November to the middle of December, draws tens of thousands annually. Tickets generally go on sale in July, but get your order in early because they're usually gone in a matter of weeks.
I bet those tickets do go fast because kids love trains, but nowadays the only time you get to ride them is really a special event like that.
Well, that's true, and they can come ride the thing, but I got to drive it.
No, you did have a one-up on those kids,
don't you? Oh yeah.
Coming up next on Simply Southern, when these little piggies came home, they carried some valuable life lessons to their young caretakers. It's Project Pig Squeal, and it's right after the break.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
For nearly 50 years, the electric cooperatives of Alabama have been giving young people an opportunity to visit our nation's capital, where they learn about the value of electric cooperatives and the importance of grassroots advocacy. Top students join with thousands of others touring monuments, landmarks, and meeting with their congressional delegation. The Rural Electric Youth Tour program. Just one more way the electric cooperatives of Alabama are investing in the future of our state.
Alabama wheat and feed grain farmers grow food, fuel, and freedom. Their harvest helps feed Alabama's multi-million-dollar livestock, catfish, and poultry industries while reducing America's dependence on foreign countries for energy and food. By combining their strength with farmers of other commodities, feed grain growers are fueling the economic growth of Alabama communities.
Join the more than 350,000 families who can save money as members of the Alabama Farmers Federation. Members get discounts at local businesses and can save on GM cars and trucks, hotel stays, child car seats, and more. For about 50 cents a week, your family could save hundreds of dollars a year. Join the Alabama Farmers Federation and start saving today. Learn more at any Alpha Insurance office.
Whether it's reading, writing, or arithmetic, children bring home a wealth of knowledge from the classroom every day. Some lessons, however, are best learned by doing. This is at the foundation of Alabama 4-H's Project Pig Squeal. Samantha Carpenter has more.
If you've never been to a pig show, it's a lot to take in.
It is a big chaotic mess. Even when it's going like it's supposed to be, it looks very chaotic.
Today's livestock show in Colbert County is the culmination of months of work for these young hopefuls participating in Project Pig Squeal, one of Alabama 4-H's livestock-based educational programs.
Pig Squeal has come out of our county programs, and our kids and our parents been asking for, let's do something where the kids can take for 4 months, raise some pigs, have some fun, learn about agriculture.
Competing in categories of both showmanship and marketability, these children are judged on how they manage and display their pigs here at the show, which, speaking from experience, is no easy task. But more importantly, they are measured on what they've learned in the months leading up to today.
4 months ago, the kids went through a pork quality assurance program and learned how to raise pigs. Then they got about a 60-pound feeder pig, put them on their home feed trials. They've been feeding them and caring for them for the last 120 days. Today, they pick out their best pig. They do a showmanship where they get a chance to show the hog off and be judged for their own presence. But then they come back and we do a market show, and then we do an auction.
These kids think that they're raising these pigs, but the pigs are really raising them. So what'd you learn from doing this?
From the whole project, a lot of responsibility. You got to go out and mess with them every day, and a lot about the swine industry. I learned a lot about that.
They all do their own project books. They keep records on how much it's cost, what the rate of gain is. So they're learning math, they're learning economics all at the same time. Those hogs are raising our future leaders because they're teaching the kids responsibility. They're teaching them that every day doesn't go smooth. They have to be able to take the good with the bad.
As for the main event, you can see it draws quite a crowd. Leading these 200-plus pound animals is an impressive enough task for their much lighter handlers. But even though things seem pretty hectic in the ring, there's specific things the judge looks for.
For the showmanship class, he wants to see that child always have his eyes on the judge, attentive to the judge, watching the judge, kind of moving with what the judge wants. The judge is going to talk to him about the project, so knowledge of the project, knowing what they fed those hogs, how long the project's been, what their pig weighs. For the market class, he's looking for the pig that's got the most pork in the animal.
After the show, the pigs are put up for auction. Proceeds from the sale of their animal go back to these children. A nice reward for their months of hard work. While Project Pig Squeal definitely leaves participants with a lot of know-how on raising livestock, the ultimate benefits are much more broad.
We feel like this is a great project to build citizens of the community. Not all these kids will go back into agriculture. I would bet that probably very few of them do. But all the things they learned with this project, the hard work, what the commitment it takes to do the project, keeping records, dealing with money, those are all things they're going to have in life every day. So we feel like livestock projects and pigs and chickens and cattle and all these 4-H livestock projects we do, they build citizens for the community, not just farmers.
For Simply Southern, I'm Samantha Carpenter.
The show in Colbert County includes participants from 6 counties, and nearly all of the 46 children who initially signed up for the program were on hand to show off their results.
What do they do with the animals at the end of the project?
That's part of the show. They bring their animals there, then they auction them off, and there's processors. So these kids are really learning what it takes to raise an animal that will then become food for someone else.
Excellent idea.
It really is. Up next, we're headed to Huntsville, where researchers are learning ways to help farmers choose better plants to make a healthier planet.
Seriously?
Have some respect. Pick it up, man.
Did you just litter?
Take pride in your school.
Pick it up, man.
Clean it up, dude.
Besides keeping your campus clean, adopt a mile with Roadside Cleanup. Attend the next Coastal Cleanup Day or pitch in on the annual Spring Cleanup campaign. Make a difference by picking up litter and
Don't drop it on Alabama!
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag Tag today.
Nothing brings the family together like U.S. farm-raised catfish. American catfish farmers are dedicated to producing a premium, healthy catfish with a consistently mild, sweet flavor. Because we take as much pride in our work as you do in your cooking. From our family farms to your family's table, you can be sure you're getting the highest quality fish. Because your family deserves the best. U.S. farm-raised catfish.
50 years ago, Huntsville, Alabama was the epicenter for scientific discovery as scientists at Redstone Arsenal launched America into the space race. Today, less than 10 miles away, researchers at the Hudson Alpha Institute for Biotechnology are exploring uncharted territory as they map plant DNA on a mission to improve crops and end starvation.
Faculty investigators Jeremy Schmutz and Jane Grimwood are plowing new ground as co-directors of the Genome Sequencing Center at Hudson Alpha in Huntsville. The two lead a team of researchers who study plant DNA to discover what makes certain plants better than others.
Hudson Alpha Institute for Biotechnology was built about 8 years ago now. It was built to work in genomics, which is what we do, which is using DNA sequencing to solve problems in the world, both on the human health side and also on the agriculture and plant side.
Machines called sequencers are necessary for this new science. The sequencers decode the plant's DNA, and researchers assemble data from the machine, like a complicated jigsaw puzzle. The result is a genome, or a map of the plant's DNA. The hope is to discover what gives plants certain desirable traits, such as the ability to fight off diseases or live through a drought.
Just like the breeder would walk through the field and say, here's a plant that looks like it's got an interesting bean shape, or here's a plant that looks like it's very healthy and robust to whatever fungus is going through the field right now, and that's the plants they want to select and cross. You can now do that with genomics. Once you understand the traits, you don't have to do a large-scale field trial to be able to go in and select them. You can just do a DNA test associated with a specific trait, pull those plants out and cross those plants and move forward.
With this new scientific work, Alabama farmers could see a dramatic improvement in yields and varieties of corn, soybeans, wheat, and sorghum in the near future.
I really think that as the technology gets better and better and the sequencing gets cheaper and cheaper, we're going to be able to produce a lot more genomes and higher quality genomes. So we're going to learn a lot about plants which has not been known. And hopefully that will lead to discoveries as we move forward.
And it's not just row crops that can be improved based on this research. It has potential to create a positive impact on perennial crops, such as fruit and nut trees, switchgrass, and even pine trees.
In the case of pecans or other kinds of nuts, you're at 7 to 10 years to be able to evaluate. So you've got these trees in the ground for 7 to 10 years before you can even decide whether or not you really want to keep them. And so with understanding how DNA changes are linked to these traits, these production traits or traits of interest, we can then say, okay, here's 100 trees, let's save 5 of them instead of saving 100 of them. And that allows you to do 20 times the experiments in the same amount of space.
The Hudson Alpha campus includes points of interest for the community. There's a double helix walking track, the shape of DNA. They also provide educational resources and experiences for middle school, high school, and college students. All of this is meant to increase interest in and understanding of genomic research, which can increase efficiency in plant breeding to help feed the world's growing population.
As we understand more about how plants and the underlying DNA functions in plants, how the genomics and genetics of the plants work, that it's much easier to make intelligent decisions about what you can and can't do with plants. Whereas right now, in history, a lot of those changes have been made blindly without knowing what you're actually doing to your food source, as opposed to doing it intentionally and then being able to measure downstream what you've actually done.
Grimwood agreed that the endless possibilities of their groundbreaking research makes it exciting to be involved in the study of genomics.
And there's so much more that's going to be learned as we move forward, as new technologies open and we learn more about different plants and how they interact with their environments.
In addition to plant research, Hudson Alpha houses a new genome clinic. It's meant for children or adults with chronic issues. They'll map the patient's genome to help pinpoint their illness.
So it's all about diet and whether somebody's been properly diagnosed.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. They want to make plants as healthy as they can be and people as healthy as they can be.
Wow, way above my head.
Yeah, oh, it certainly is mine too.
Up next on Simply Southern, if you're not careful, disease can take away your tomatoes before they ever have a chance to ripen. When we return, Sydney Phelps from Bonnie Plants shows us how to prevent and how to treat blossom end rot.
When AJ was born with a heart defect, we practically lived at the hospital. We weren't prepared for that. My Alpha customers, my Alpha family made sure we had everything we needed. Now I'm even more motivated to help take care of them. Who I am fits what I do. I am Alpha.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie Plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Hey folks, Sydney Phelps here with Bonnie Plants. Now today I want to talk to you while I'm here in our trial garden at Union Springs about common issues that happen in everyday gardens. One of the biggest issues that we always hear about is blossom end rot. Now blossom end rot is something that can be easily fixed if you see it in your garden from start to finish. Blossom end rot is a calcium deficiency. So the first thing you're doing before you even get started planting is always add some lime in with that early fertilization process, and that will eliminate blossom end rot throughout your season. But if you've already got your garden growing and your plants are looking healthy just like this one is, you really don't know what's going to happen. You really want to keep your eye on blossom end rot. Now, as I said, that's a calcium deficiency, and it can happen in your tomatoes and your peppers, eggplants, even the melons. So if you start seeing black lesions, that is a sign of blossom end rot. So I don't have an example to show you today, but this tomato here, for example, would develop a black ring on the bottom, and you'd see that more in the ripe stages of the tomato. And it's going to be almost like a lesion that you can see the tomato taking in or just rotting off in the end, hence the name blossom end rot. Now, those tomatoes are not going to be any good. They're not going to be harvestable. You can pull them off and trim out the healthy portions of the tomato and chop off the end, but they need to be pulled off of the plant. Once you pull those tomatoes off, you can start the maintenance process of keeping blossom end rot away. Now, as we said, it's a calcium deficiency. So the first steps are we need to make sure that we have calcium nutrients going back into the plant. Now that could be via way of lime fertilizer or using a calcium solution or even a blossom end rot spray to stop that process and allow the plants to get healthy. This only takes a few days to do. Now, if you've got irrigated plants, irrigation is one of the biggest things that you need to be really aware of is over watering or over irrigating the plants. You're going to wash all the nutrients out if you're doing that process, but if you're doing the right stages of irrigation, spreading it out a little bit, allowing the plant to dry out, it gets to working a little bit better on. Now, in the early stages, if you're doing a lot of nitrogen and you're pushing to get those tomatoes and peppers and eggplants to get growing, you can sometimes get the plant growing too fast that the calcium layers cannot build up inside of the plant. So when you're starting off, it's great to put a good balanced fertilizer out and allow everything to get going, and then you can kind of alleviate this issue with the calcium being able to develop throughout the plant all the way through its growth cycle. But let's say that we've got a fully mature plant, we're at ripe stages of tomatoes, we've already cleared off those lesionistic spots that you see. What are the steps that you can take? Well, now what you want to do is you want to handle your irrigation, probably water either early in the morning or late in the day. Allow and make sure that your raised bed or your containers have plenty of drainage, and then you want to use a calcium solution to spray in there and mix in with, and that will allow the Blossom End Rot to be out of your plant just in a couple of days, and you're healthy and ready to go. Now, if you have questions about your garden, send us an email at simplysouthern@alafarm.com. We may use it on an upcoming episode to show you how to solve that problem. For any other questions, go to bonnieplants.com or check out our app, Homegrown with Bonnie Plants.
There are a lot of viruses and diseases you can't do anything about in your garden. This is one, if you just pay attention, you can nip it in the bud.
That's exactly right. Just do what Sid says.
That's it.
And remember, bonnieplants.com is your source for answers to questions you may have about anything in your garden.
Here are links for our online resources for the other stories we featured today. There's almost always something going on at the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum. Check out their schedule or look at pictures of some of the railroad equipment in their collection at hodrrm.org.
Project Pig Squeal is generally operated on a county basis, but if you want an overview of the program, visit the Alabama Cooperative Extension System website at aces.edu and click on 4-H under the Resources tab. Find out more about the research into human and plant genomics at Hudson Alpha by visiting their website at hudsonalpha.org.
You can keep up with stories we're working on for future shows by liking the Simply Southern Facebook page. But to look back at some of our previous shows, visit our website at simplysouthern.tv.net. Next week on Simply Southern, we're headed to a nursery that specializes in antique and heirloom varieties of plants like what your grandmother may have had in her garden.
Plus, we'll drop in on a group of safety specialists from all over the country. They visited Alabama recently to learn how they can help farmers improve safety measures on their farms. Thanks for watching Simply Southern this morning. I'm Mary Johnson.
And I'm Jim Allen. We hope you'll join us again next Sunday morning.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.